remaining.
Off to the side just to make 100% sure.
5 seconds.
Yeah, so the other match was CDC versus FTDA. Looks like that one is still going on at the moment, and once that finishes, it'll be eHome versus Max. But LFY versus VGJ, two pretty big names, at least as far as the Chinese scene is concerned. Probably both in contention for one of those China qualifier spots. So we've got some pretty hype matches coming your way today. Do of course let me know if there's any problems with the audio. I will endeavor to fix it. If I need to go up, if the game needs to go up, music down, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's a bit of an impromptu set. So we are working with what we got. But
10 seconds remaining.
We are excitingly going to be able to get straight into this game. Elder Titan and Night Stalker. We are position 4 continues to be the most hotly contested. But as we will have excitingly going to be able to get straight into this game. Elder Titan and Night Stalker. We are right here at the beginning hotly contested. But firing back with a Kunkka, so also some big AoE team fire. Elder Titan. The more and more I look at this, the more I feel like that was just a big problem for Vici Gaming's draft in the previous game, that they just didn't have a whole lot of team fight, didn't really have a whole lot of AoE control. They only really had the Rubik for lockdown when it really came down to it. I mean, the clock could kind of initiate, but then there were so many force stabs on the LGD side that he just really couldn't follow up. So VGJ are also going to be grabbing the Omni Knight, certainly a nice hero to have against the Ancient Apparition. In lane. AA is a very strong laner, but Omni Knight has quite a bit of sustain, and the repel, of course, means that he's not very vulnerable to the cold feet, which is very, very nice to have. So LFY keeping the cards pretty close to their chest. Tanking could be position 3, but I think he's more than likely just going to be your position 4 support in this game, as VGJ also kind of, concealing strategy a little bit, more than likely going to be picking up their position 5 as the next pick. And I'm looking to go from there. Something like a Crystal Maiden could be alright. Something like that.
Dire team ban.
There you go. I think we're good. Alright, so Queen of Pain gonna get banned out. LFY, maybe that tips their hand a little bit in terms of what they're going to be looking to run on
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, a Queen of Pain with a repel is certainly very annoying for their lineup to deal with right now.
5 seconds remaining.
Needs to try and mitigate against that a little bit. Pop just jumping into the back lines and slaying Ancient Apparition does not sound like a very fun time. I think it makes a lot of sense for VGJ to be banning out heroes with kind of a setup for the AA lane, something like Avenge or the Magic Missile or the Sven with a stun. I think this Ancient Apparition pick is actually something that's been trending, because it's kind of been played with Sven. Helps to secure the lane for him, delays the game a little bit with the Ice Blast, and that's really what Sven needs. He needs to win his lane, and then needs some time to farm his jungle without losing all of his tier 1 towers, having that farm source really get cut off. What else do we have going on? Terrorblade getting banned, so what LFY may be looking at some kind of lifestealer strategy here. Please, guys. come on, teams, work with me here. Not too many chat wheels, please. All right.
Radiant team pick.
Dragon Knight banned. I don't quite know what to make of this Terrorblade ban. It'll be interesting to see what LFY pick, to see if it makes more sense in context, because it's not like they have bad AoE for Terrorblade. So if they're worried about anything for TB, I guess it's also just that he's going to be a repel monster and might be particularly good against some of the heroes that they're looking to run. Maybe it suggests that they're looking at some kind of Huskar strategy, but they don't really have room to pick the... I mean, if they really wanted to, they could put tanking offlane, then they could pick the Dazzle or the Oracle to go with the Huskar, but I don't know if that's a great idea. Oh, whoops.
5 seconds remaining.
I had my own stream.
Reserve time.
Okay, at least it seems like this hand is working. VGJ, what are you gonna pick?
Witch Doctor.
Which stuff? Okay.
Radiant
Well, I thought they were
team
just going to
pick.
pick their position 5. That makes sense. Gives them some decent damage. What else? They've got pretty good safe lane now. Kunga Witch Doctor should be able to kill pretty much anything
10
that LGD
seconds
FY
remaining.
put in the off lane. Little bit surprised to see Bristleback ignored. I
5
feel like even
seconds
in the SCA
remaining.
qualifiers, Bristleback hasn't been that crazy popular. I don't know if it's actually that
Reserve
amazing of a
time.
Bristleback game for either side now. Lena's a Silver Edge carrier. AA gives him a pretty hard time with the Ice Blast. VGJ now have the ultimate from the Omni Knight to block a bunch of physical damage, and they've got the Maledict for the Witch Doctor to help kill tanky targets. So maybe not an amazing choice for either side at this point. And Faceless Void
Dire
is going to
team
be the
pick.
selection. Okay, so not at all bad against the Omni Knight. Gives them some good lockdown and able to create some space and set up for the AA and the Sand King, which is good because Void does very little damage
10
of his own.
seconds
Let's
remaining.
face it.
5 seconds remaining.
Oh, I gotta update the dream title as well.
Reserve
Thanks,
time.
guys. You got my back. Much to do. I've gotten lazy. I've cast too many big events. Well, I've cast too many events recently where somebody else is running the production for me. So. Alright. So, what's good against the Void here? Could VGJ just go for a Drow strat? They certainly could. I really think that could be a decent option for them. I don't know if they would put mid in that situation. I think actually even the TA could be okay. They could just like TA Drow. Drow pretty solid against Void, though it doesn't necessarily
10
look like
seconds
Void
remaining.
is going off lane, or it's not guaranteed just yet where exactly the Void is going to be.
Radiant team back.
Going to be playing. VGJ, alright, it's just a Vengeful Spirit so far, so maybe pause one Ven, maybe Venge SF. I don't know if you want to pick the SF into Lena, so I feel like
10
Templar
seconds
Assassin is
remaining.
probably the ban here. They don't even have the most amazing ways to deal with
5
refraction
seconds
necessarily,
remaining.
so TA definitely seems like a solid hero to remove. What else can
Reserve
VGJ go
time.
for? Sniper, okay.
Dire team back.
Sniper getting banned. VGJ. What do I think this Void is? That's going to give... We'll get a lot of information from this next ban, whether they think the Void is safe lane, or they think the Void is off lane.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Okay, so they think the Void is off...
Dire team
wait,
pick.
what do they think? They think the Void is safe lane, and they think that LFY are looking for their off laner right now. In terms of off laners that we still have remaining, probably don't want to pick Enigma because of Venge. Who else? This is
10
Tide. If
seconds
they really
remaining.
feel like they just need like ridiculous amounts of AoE teamfight, then they could just pick Tide Hunter here.
Radiant team pick.
Okay, never mind. It wasn't Drow Dusa, it's Venge Dusa. Also pretty good. Dusa just going to be able to frontline for the team here, especially with Repel. The Void probably
10
going to try and
seconds
build a Manta
remaining.
Diffusal build to deal with the Dusa. But
5 seconds
VGJ,
remaining.
solid team fight. Dusa definitely a good mid hero, but was kind of nerfed in a sense
Reserve time.
by the extra creeps mid. It used to be much easier to bounce the Mystic Snake off of the creeps and hit the enemy mid laner and get big damage on them, but with the extra creeps there now, it actually mostly gets soaked up by the creep wave. So Medusa, a little bit worse mid than she was previously, but still pretty good. LFY, not going to be going for an AoE team fight in their off lane. Instead, they choose the Beastmaster, which I quite like here. They've got a lot of heroes to utilize the vision. I would guess LFY probably just watching LGD in the previous game, and they probably even played against one another in preparation for this event. So it looks like Beastmaster, maybe a hero that they're going to be bringing back to the meta, but the meta in China is always a little bit different from what it is in the rest of the world. You know, it seems like Troll is a little bit more popular, Beastmaster could be back, so definitely be some options there. Alright, we're gonna get straight into it. I'm not sure which lineup I like more. I think I'm favoring LFY just a little bit. I like the Vision with the Sand King and the Void to initiate. They've got the Lina for damage. I feel like they should be able to pick off the Omni Knight a decent amount. This is a decent DOTA game, but not ridiculous. LFY are pretty mobile, so they should just be able to kite the Medusa around. It all comes down to whether or not VGJ can actually get this 5-man working in the way that they hope. The Kunkka is interesting with Medusa. You can actually get up to, like, because damage reduction stacks additively, I think if you're boat buffed and you have mana shield on, you actually take 0 damage. I mean, your mana still goes down, but so long as you have mana, your health doesn't. Maybe you can see that come into play. I doubt the Medusa's really going to get focused at all this game. With boat buff and Omni Knight to protect her and the swap, it's really just going to be, can they get into the back lines with that Hawk Vision, drop a Chrono off on a couple of important heroes and then burst them down, or will the VGJ 5-man train just so interesting draft so far. Okay, so let's do this real fast. It's 10 minutes.
Prepare for battle.
I'm gonna go with Lina. I think that's an obvious choice. It was 3 to 5 last time. Player with the least deaths. Depends on who I think is gonna win. I feel like LFY might be the ones to win this. So maybe I'm gonna choose Cooper? I'm not sure. Player with the most last hits by 7 minutes. Alright, I'm gonna go aggressive. He's gonna kill a couple of boars. Who knows? We'll figure it out. There's actually decent pressure on both sides to be able to ganks early on. Sand King rotating around, Witch Doctor and the Kunkka on the other side. So should be an interesting one. In terms of our early wards, plenty of pressure over on the mid lane. Both mid laners want Vision over the opposing high ground at 4 minutes. Lina so that she can get Dragon Slaves going across, and DOTA so that she can get the Mystic Snakes bouncing up and steal some of the mana pool away. So, looks like that's going to be the situation early on here. Radiant, another Silverward planted up here on the Cliff Dire, still holding on to their final obs. Fenrir walking around with that one on the Witch Doctor. And VGJ, pretty standard lanes it looks like from both sides. And it is going to be 2 bounty runes apiece. Beastmaster looking like he's going to be contesting the lane a little bit. No straight up Iron Talon. We'll probably buy a Quelling Blade and head over into this jungle a little bit later on, especially because he's laning up against the Witch Doctor. That's one of the few bad things about the Beastmaster this game. I think the Vision game is fantastic, but laning against Witch Doctor as Beastmaster is no fun because your boars get done forever by the paralyzing cask, and you can see that he's not even bringing the boar into the lane right now, just scouting things out. Accidentally, I don't know if that was an accident, but mismicroing the boar into the Creed camp there. Oh, we got some action on the mid lane. Mystic Snake going to be bouncing through. Nice mana refill for Freeze. Meanwhile, bottom RTK getting pressured a little bit, but he sees the Sand King mid, so he knows he's pretty safe. Not a whole lot that the Void can really do with the AA to pressure him out, so RTK going to throw out some punches, but we are going to see some of the strength of the Ancient Apparition in this laning phase as he picks up the Chilling Touch. It'll be interesting to see how this mid matchup goes. It might actually be decent for Freeze because Lina is very reliant on her mana to be able to get all that much out of the lane.
Denied.
So the Mystic Snake keeps adding up. It's going to be pretty super copping quite a decent amount of harassment so far, but he's still got his branches, he's still got his tangos, he's still got his salve, he's going to be AOK. But it is just kind of turning into a dual lane here on the mid lane so far. I was talking to some people at Galaxy Battles about is mid lane a little bit better for dual lanes, and we haven't seen like true dual lanes mid with like a ranged support and a carry hero. We are seeing a lot of attention paid towards some of these recent games. Okay, in a little bit of trouble. That is a well-timed bash from Monet. He does manage to get the game off with the cold feet proc, and that will be first blood picked up for LFY. That's only a 1-point bash, 10% chance, but Monet gets it done. Yep, as you can see, Beastmaster already heading over into the jungle. Doesn't really want to lane against the Witch Doctor, so Fenrir just gonna start jungling up a little bit. Running to pull himself some nice levels.
Gold for my chest.
King with an arcane. Alright, time for some harassment. They did actually manage to get the D ward on this Radiant Observer over on the high ground. Nice sentry placement, like probably by FY. Food is going to be rotating down bottom as One continues to lane decently against the Omni Knight. Probably one of the melee heroes that actually does well against Omni in lane. He just continuing to be a nuisance here.
I'll take your tribute. Denied.
Yeah, see, this is why Witch Doctor is such a pain. Master. Aggressive playing on him a little bit here. Just wants to force him back out of the lane. Will he misses CS for it? No, because he's aggressive. Knows limits. Super getting his soul sucked out of him right now. He's still doing a little better than Medusa in terms of CS, and gonna be going for a bottle refill here, popping in clarity as well. Still chilling. FY also level 2, just running over towards mid, and I'm gonna miss another kill on okay, wow. I thought this Omni Knight was gonna be pretty safe and secure down here at bottom, but yeah, these cold feet and just the auto attack damage from Void with the chilling touch has been more than enough. There's actually some other interesting synergy between Ancient Apparition and Void beyond the Chronosphere setting up for the Ice Blast. Because his time lock is magical damage, putting an Ice Vortex on top of somebody while they're in Chronosphere and Void is hitting them actually beefs up Void's damage by a lot. So that's always kind of interesting to see.
Doctor ordered.
Freeze and FY just chilling, both teams looking for the 4-minute rune, but Super is going to be the lucky one to grab himself that Invis. Aggressive. What's he going to be going for this game? Probably just Dragonlance. People used to buy Dominator, but obviously not an amazing item for carry heroes anymore with the stat nerfs, so we're still just farming away. The sequel is getting hype on if you guys are picking it up on my mic, but 80s is going off. Alright, so AA just pulling. He's actually doing really well in terms of levels. Those 2 kills on the Omni Knight adding up a little bit. It looked like Beastmaster might be joining Omni as a dead offlaner. There's one last tick of Maledict and he's not even going to make it to the shrine. Will be brought down. Alright, so VGJ at the very least getting on board here. What build is Void going to be going for? Looks like he's just getting a relatively standard Vlads, just picking up some sustain there. Beastmaster just going to be working on a dress, or probably the Dominator strat for him as well.
Invisibility.
Master does manage to hide himself into the trees, will not be dying a second time.
Top tower is under attack.
So F1 might have something else to say about that. Does get scattered out by the boar off to the side. Nice little bit there. Beastmaster. RTK playing somewhat on DDC, but we've seen what's happened to him these last couple of times. He's only got 8 CS to his name right now, and I really thought that this Omni Knight was going to be able to pressure this lane a little bit better, but like Afu lining up yet another kill here on RTK. He does finally have the point up in the repel, which is going to be helpful, but being scattered out by this Radiant Observer ward as he backs himself up. Super once again on mid, but still winning in terms of CS. 6-minute rune once again, unlucky for GJ. They think that it's going to be top, but it does end up being bottom, and Afu keeping tabs on RTK here. Steals his bounty rune, comes back for a couple more auto attacks, and now scoots over towards mid. How did they even get this ward down? I guess it was nighttime. He just popped out of the trees and placed it, but really nice vision from LFY. In a pretty good spot as well for potential Ice Blasts and seeing rotations come in from the Kunkka and the Witch Doctor to help to keep their lanes nice and safe. Gives them some information as to whether or not anyone is actually sitting behind the Medusa, because Medusa can actually die early on in this game. You know, points in Mana Shield and only 720 health is not that difficult for them to burst through with a max rank Dragon Slave and a Laguna Blades. Afu kind of rotation, but they need to know if there's somebody behind ready to counter initiate. Even just a paralyzing cast is probably enough to turn that gank around. Afu chilling mid. Freeze trying to play dumb. I mean, there is a dire ward here, so you know exactly what's going on. Will not be brought down. Aggressive, picking up his phase boots here. Beastmaster mostly been jungling for the last little bit. Has picked up the Iron Talon, but Beastmaster in the last game didn't complete the Talon, I believe. Just stayed on the Quelling Blade for the majority of the time, and super big rotation down towards bottom. This is not being scouted by the Dire, so RTK could be going down, and they are just going to utilize the corner to kill him off. Holding on to the Laguna Blade. They don't actually have mana for it right now, as Aggressive tries to TP in, but will not be able to save it off lane. TP from Freeze, they really want to hold on to the tower. The Glyph's also being popped, but Apu's in backlines. And is he actually tanky enough to get a little bit of a mana refill off of the Mystic Snake? Like, not enough left in the tank for Super, as RTK now comes TPing in. Looks like Apu should be losing his life. Purification will end up being RTK. So 4-man rotation, plus a cancelled TP from VGJ down to bottom to try and hold on to this tier 1 tower after the Chronosphere was used. And it looks like they will just be able to get the deny in the end. RTK needs to be careful about what he does here. If someone gets the creep wave under the tower, he might actually just be able to go in and auto-attack it down. Super desperately hoping that that top rune was a regen, but the Hawk is ready, informing him that it's just an illusion waiting. The shrine has already been used. The offlane shrine is ready to go. There's going to be a roar popped off onto the Venge. Aggressive, decently tanky, but still slowed down. He's going to turn around and try and auto-attack Afu down. Knows that he can't actually escape. Actually goes swap. One more auto-attack. Aggressive still on the run. Can they finish him off? They've got the vision from the Hawk, trying to salve up inside of the trees, but it looks like we will still get auto-attacked down by the Beastmaster. Nice little play with the swap, however. Had he gotten a little bit more of that salvage ration, might have actually been able to escape. But 1-1 on top. Super making yet another rotation. Very active on his Lina so far this game, but once again it's going to turn into some pressure onto a G1 tower. Lift does come in and Freeze once again the person to rotate, but that is going to hurt his overall farm a little bit, having to make his way all the way up the top just to span this out. Like, Venge going to be heading over towards mid in the meantime. Afu doesn't have an observer ward or anything. There is a reasonably big ancient stack. Looks like that's where FY was spending most of his time in the early stages of this game. But only the 1 point split shot so far. Aggressive waiting for Afu on the high. One more auto attack is going to do it. Great patience from him, sitting right on top of the ward. FY, however, also going to end up being brought down over on the mid lane.
Top tower is under attack.
All right. Pretty even, relatively even game so far. LFY pulling ahead a little bit. Monet doing pretty well on his Faceless Void. Is actually just going to be going for a Midas. He's feeling so confident about his start here. And that's another problem for the Vici gaming lineup, is that, like I said, they don't really play very well from behind. They have some team fight from the boat and from the zone gaze, but for the most part, I think LFY can kite that out. And we might see once again the problem of this Omni Knight in the offlane. If your team isn't winning lanes and 5-manning, I think the Omni Knight all of a sudden looks a little bit unimpressive. And, you know, Purification not even going to be that value against the Ice Blast this game. So, we'll see what RTK gets done. He's had a rough start. He's a little bit less farmed than the Beastmaster. Beastmaster, does he have his Dominator yet? No, just going to be a Tome of Knowledge shipped out to Afu, trying to grab some level 6 here on the mid lane. Not as farmed as we have seen some Position 4 Sand Kings be at this stage of the game. You know, if you don't die at all, you actually make pretty solid progress towards your blink. For now, LFY just pressuring bottom, keeping information on to RTK. No vision over in the Radiant Jungle right now. I would expect that there's probably a warding mission coming out from LFY pretty soon, and yeah, if you look at DDC's inventory, he's got 2 Observer Wards waiting right now. Got the Ice Blast ready to rock and roll as well, on top of the almost maxed out Cold Feet. Plenty of setup for the Cold Feet this game. I think definitely very good to pick it up. But like I've said, the Ice Vortex is also amazing with Void, amazing with the Lina, and also, you know, not too bad with Beastmaster with the Roar to set things up. Cold Feet and Ice Vortex very difficult to escape from. They go for a smoke. They're going to find a smoke from VGJ over on this hill. Neither team confident to press up onto the high ground. They will just put down a ward. They see Bender splitting up from aggressive. Is he going to go for the swap out? No, he's going to come chasing forward here and look for the skill. There is a Sandstorm to drop the magic missile, and they will be able to burn FY on the other side of the fight. Ice Blast getting dropped off. RK arriving now. Will he be able to keep the Vengeful Spirit alive? Does manage to drop off the repel, but it's a low level. aggressive. One more auto attack's going to do it. Afu will finally drop, but just a 2-for-1 support trade overall here. As Monet on his Void, continuing to pressure this tier 2 tower over on the bottom side of the map, but not a ton that he can actually do.
Money to burn.
LFY looking good. VGJ, the Vengeful Spirit is on the move to make some space for the Medusa to continue farming. They really need to maintain control over this ancient stack until the point that Medusa can actually clear it. And that coming in for the backstab, might be able to burst down DDC, but he should be able to get off an Ice Blast at the very least. No, he doesn't stand up. It's only a Vortex, and now the Torrent boat is actually going to connect onto the Luna. Super not tanky enough. The swap going to drag back in as well, and they grab 2. They did end up taking the tower. Beastmaster going to try and retreat into the tree line, blocking things up a little bit with the board. RTK's found him. Magic Missile flies out. Aggressive has another wave of terror in just a second as well. So juking should be very difficult, and with the Iron Talon on cooldown, it looks like Beastmaster just going to accept his fate. They've also got a Torrent off on the other side of this fight. Monet jumping himself away, and looks like he should be alright. And all the while, Freeze is just farming. This is what this Medusa hero does. He's got a Yasha Lincoln's queued up at the moment.
Tide is money.
Not sure if I'm a huge fan of that. I guess the Lincoln's has some extra value this game against the Laguna Blade and the Roar. And it's pretty good against Burst Strike, so... As much as I'm not a huge fan of the item on Medusa, at least he's not buying a Manta. There you go. LFY continuing to build up a little bit of a net worth lead. That was a really nice gank from Vici, the big wraparound, killing off DDC before he managed to cast any spells whatsoever. So is he on the move again? I would imagine that their smoke count is starting to run a little bit low, so they will have to be a bit more conservative with how they use that. He is just going to be straight rushing the Hurricane Pike here. Force Staff definitely very helpful against the Roar, against the Burst Strike. Even against the combo. I haven't checked in on Lena's items, but she's just going to be going for the Bloodstone. Pretty standard stuff here. Maybe some incentive to go for a Dual Scepter against the Kunkka, but probably not enough. Probably just going to see the standard build, go for Bloodstone, go for Shadow Blade. They do already have some invis on the team with the Sand King, so VGJ likely to be carrying detection, but still a very nice pick-off item for the Lena. You know, a lot of these core is not going to be standing right on top of sentries all the time. They do manage to clear out that ancient stack. They got the 4 points on the wave of terror, making pretty quick work of it. Beastmaster not going to be going for the dominant for this game. Does just opt for the Vlads, whereas the Void is going to be going in for that more right-click focused build, picking up a Manta Diffusal. It looks like this decision was only made recently. They are going to be able to get the X back onto the boat on the Beastmaster. Meanwhile, RTK dying on the bottom side of the map, and they get the Roar. But one more X mark the spot is going to bring the Beastmaster back to his death. Just hiding.
It feels good to get that off my chest.
Got a bit of internet hiccup there, but looks like we're back. Okay, we're back in. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Monet at 7 minutes. I was wrong. They won that lane really hard.
Dire's middle tower
Void just going straight to Fusel, actually. Not going to go for the Manta first. Definitely good against Reduce. Another X marks the spot here on Beastmaster, but the combo completely whips. And with that, Monet is just going to charge on forward, looking for the Chronosphere. Who can he find?
Radiant's middle tower.
Mirror has a Death Ward ready to use as well, but a rare miss from FY. They are going to expend the Chronosphere just to find a single kill. More Fenrir will be brought down. Did he manage to do any shopping before he died? Looks like maybe not losing too much gold.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
At the same time, mid tower on the Radiant will be brought down. He's still kind of ignored so far in this game. Has picked up his Yasha, so
Radiant's middle
farm rate
tower
accelerating
is under
as
attack.
Afu trying to save his own life. Jumping around down here on the bottom side. Does get scouted, but no range for the swap, so so won't be able to do anything.
Radiant's bottom
Midas
tower
up on the
is under
Omni,
attack.
a little bit faster than the Midas in the previous
Radiant
game. So
structures are
RTK's
fortified.
impact still a little bit of a question mark right now. And LFY with the Feds will just be able to head over into the Roshan pit. This is perhaps a little bit unexpected for VGJ. But with the power of the Beastmaster, they
Radiant's
can back
bottom
down
tower
the
is under
Vlads and making reasonably quick work of this. They don't have the Chronosphere available right now, however, and it looks like as all the VGJ arrive on this,
Radiant's
they are
bottom
to back
tower has
themselves
fallen.
out. Radiant Vision putting the majority of assists. I do also take out Zero and Power over at bottom, so LFR was kind of hoping that they were just going to stick around for the tier 1 and then they could get Roshan for free. Nice rotation back from VGJ, and they don't even have that much vision. I guess they just realized, hey, nobody's defending bot, and they were all just over on the top side. If they're doing anything, they're probably doing Roshan.
Healing and harm.
Another smoke from Vici. Oh, they do still have this double damage. Double damage haste Medusa coming in. Beastmaster gonna be in trouble, does get caught out, tries to get the roar off at the last moment, but just yet another pick off for VGJ. For VGJ. He's been split pushing for the most part. It makes sense that he's taking a couple of deaths, but with that, VGJ, they've got this DD for a little bit longer. They've got the maxed out wave, and into Roshan they go. Chronosphere still on cooldown for 10 seconds time. Is LFY going to come in and look to try and disrupt this? The nuke damage over onto FY, but Super perhaps caught out now. Here they have the damage with the Maledict. Should be able to do it. The boat also flying in. Perhaps a little bit of an early ulti from RTK. They now manage to swap back onto Monet. Trying to jump forward, but looks like Aggressive should have another stun. In just a couple of seconds time. He gets brought back. Another jump. They've now got the Chronosphere ready to go. Lina going to be respawning soon, and now they're going to drop off the Chrono onto Medusa, unable to get the ultimate off. Will not be able to protect the vents. She does still have the Aegis backlines off of getting controlled by FY. There is another X mark the spot ready to go, but RTK just bursted in the face. DDC, nice little boost drop there to get some extra mana to continue this fight as now Medusa ultimate comes in. They have to focus in onto the Vengeful Spirit. Doesn't have the Aegis this time around. Will not be able to pop those 17 wand charges, and Freeze maybe also in some trouble. They've got the chain stun with the cold feet. Will he be able to escape? He's still got a decent mana pool. One charge is helping to keep him alive, but with no backup from his team, it looks like Freeze should just be brought down. Monet even getting involved here. Finishes off the last auto attack to grab that kill, and it will be a mega kill streak for him. Lina having the Bloodstone, getting that faster respawn, being able to get back over to the pit along with the beautiful Chronosphere from Monet, completely winning that fight, and the Aegis wiped off of the face of the earth.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Just to see some of the problems that they have with these team fights. I guess they kind of they blew all their spells at the beginning of the fight and then just didn't have any way to really follow up. The Aegis helped mitigate things a little bit, but not enough.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Alright, Monet jumping sideways there, aggressive. Running in, but maybe just going to get bursted here. There's the Laguna Blade. His team not really ready to defend him. They will be able to get their repel off, but Monet will not be denied. Jumps forward. Fenrir going to drop off the board. Nice and shiny with the frog, but Super does manage to interrupt that. Will lose the Sand King. Pretty worth it for LFY. They will not be able to grab this tier 2 tower, but get straight back to farming stations for them. Ancient Apparition's doing pretty well in terms of the level game right now. Not far away from level 12. Sand King did die, but he already has the Blink Dagger after that previous fight, so things looking good for him. And VGJ, I guess it's back to waiting around for this to do something. She can be the one to win them this game. The Faceless Void build might have something else to say about. It's good on SNY maybe. He had Shadow Blade picked up. I don't know if this is being revealed just yet, so there might be pick up or free pick off along soon with that.
Catch up.
I think RTK might be the target. Ice Blast is going to run back into it. Looks like maybe not. Does he actually have the burst down to finish this off? The auto attack will be enough.
Burns,
Super more than a high enough level to finish off the kill. It's not looking great for VGJ. There's quite a bit of radiant vision over on their side of the map. The Beastmaster Hawks scouting non-stop as well. Beastmaster, despite the death, still finding some farm here and there. Just going to be picking up a Solar Crest next.
Money to burn.
FY still pressuring aggressively. I mean, Freeze can kind of stay out of the map and farm somewhat, but everybody else in VGJ having to be very careful. He smoked up. I think just between him and the Beastmaster, they can kill the majority of heroes on the VGJ side.
I'll take your tribute.
Ah, clear sailing now.
It's really bad at the moment, actually. Yeah, it's just freezing here as well. I don't know.
Purified.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah.
Blessings.
Still just getting pressed back onto their side of the map here. What's he up to? Working his way towards the Yule Scepter right now. Nice to have against the X marks the spot from their Kunkka. Nay. Still some more Mantip stop progress. Doesn't really seem like LFY are in that much of a rush. I feel like the Medusa is not a huge late game threat to this game necessarily. They're gonna have the mana burn. They're able to kite her around pretty well. Just put her inside of the Chrono. If they manage to Chrono the Venge and the Dusa, I don't really know what Vici can do. They don't have a positioning item or anything on the Knight. He's got a mech at this point, but whether or not that's going to be enough to turn these fights remains to be seen. VGJ with another smoke now. Trying to play behind the Medusa. She does have the Lincoln Sphere, but still not a whole lot of damage. Really needs to get into the Butterfly and the Scotty before he really has too much to say about these fights, but this is some serious indecision from Vici. They see that their top lane is getting pushed by a whole bunch of fours. They know that they're going to take some damage over there. It's difficult for them to push into the Sand King and the Luna, so they will instead just give up on this mid push and head over towards the top side of the map. He's hiding in the trees. They might be able to find him. Depends on whether or not the smoke is already broken. Looks like that little bit of milling around on the mid lane can be cost them quite a bit of time. Mina gonna be picking up some food to travel now, so she'll be able to keep bouncing around on these side lanes and farming, while the Void continues to farm their side of the map and continue to build up this net fleet. About 4k the advantage right now. 5k experience. Vici support lagging behind just a little, being out of the way, not quite grabbing his level set, though he is making
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Bagging the center at an X mark spot, but just for FY to push out the creeps a little bit. Really finding an initiation as LFY move position that can hawk forward soon as well, I would imagine. Maybe try and find a Chrono setup. Aggressive, actually. Staffing himself forward there. Just maybe hoping for a swap on this group. Shadow Blade is going to be more than enough to get him away, and LFY just back to pushing in for a little bit.
Healing and harm.
Fender is just working his way towards the Solar Crest. Kunkka just going to be going for an Aether Lens here. I don't know, maybe FY can make some big plays with an Aether Lens, a Blink, and an Ags and start shoving people around and winning these team fights, but right now it's still looking tough. Dusa only 3,000 gold away from the Butterfly, definitely going to be a big help against the Faceless Void with all of this mana burn. Definitely needs a couple of other items on top of that, and might even need a BKB at some stage this game. Not an item that Dusa likes to buy at all, but could end up being essential. I suppose she'll get the repel for the most part. Venge, she's going to be buying a Heaven's Help. Forward, going to try and find Afu. We'll be able to swap him back into the X marks the spot. Bo coming in from FY as well. And it will be a nice easy pickoff. However, on the top side of the map, it's Super and the Beastmaster moving in to try and take down this tier 2 tower. Mass TP's coming in. Can they catch Super? They actually managed to get off the X marks the spot. Did they have some detection? There is a dust from FY. Super just standing his ground. Going to try and fight. Get his auto attacks off, but looks like the Stone Gauges will be enough to drive him away. They've also got the Vengeful Spirit rotating around the corner. Lena will be able to deny herself with Bloodstone, but it looks like Beastmaster might not be quite so lucky. It's just going to be some bonus value on the Mystic Snake as he summons up the Hawk, summons up the board, trying to juke his way through the trees so he can slowed down by the Omni Knight aura, and in the end it's the aggressive finding that kill. So 3 really nice pickoffs across the map there. Meanwhile, Monet is still finding some farm, but definitely a very nice grab. Gaming overall. Omni Knight almost has his Guardian creeps picked up, so definitely very helpful, especially against time dilation from the Void, which is now maxed out. Void now just to be going for a BKB, does not want to get locked down while he's looking for the Chronosphere opportunity. They spot Freeze, but I don't know if he's the ideal target. Might have been a kill if they'd actually gotten that stun to land, but Super just a little bit off the mark. Alright, back to farm stations. Maybe I'm underestimating the potential of the Kunkka in the late game a little bit here. The boat buff is actually really strong. I mean, Venge just kind of tanks up with her build, the DOTA just tanks up as well. The Kunkka can at least control the team fight a little bit.
I'll take your tribute.
Maybe we do actually get to the point where LFY are actually going to struggle to kill off the VGJ heroes. I still think the vision game from LFY is so good, being able to have the Beastmaster Hawk scouting out and then have the Sand King and the Void jump into the backlines. That's probably the big difference maker. I mean, I talked about them chronoing the Venge and the DOTA together, but I think it's actually way more important to maybe catch like the Kunkka and the Omni Knight. I wonder if Aggressive would be willing to swap the Omni out of the Chrono. He's definitely willing to swap the Medusa out of the Chrono if she's getting focus fired, but the Omni Knight is a different question. Maybe there's a little bit of hesitation there. RTK, to try and avoid getting Chronoed, is going to pick up the Blink Dagger so he can stand. I mean, right now he has to be this close to his Vengeful Spirits to be able to help out. If he's got the Blink, he can hang all the way back and still be able to jump into the fight at a moment's notice. So that's really going to help him against the Chrono. And just good against Void in general. There's a little bit of a wind-up on Chronosphere, so if you're a good player. I think these guys are also on land for the China regional qualifiers, so should be pretty low ping, should be a little bit of an opportunity to get that immediate blink away. Chilling in the trees, everybody just kind of farming right now. Looks like LFY are very focused on just trying to find a double BKB timing here. BKB on the Void. Actually, no, he's changed his mind yet again. He changed his mind on the Vlads because the Beastmaster got it. He changed his mind on the BKB. Just picking up a Blink Dagger here. Also going to be a Blink Dagger for the Beastmaster. Okay, so that initiation game is very strong at this point. They're going to try and get past the Medusa, but can't really... I don't know if they can kill her at this point. She's got the Butterfly. Is going to be going for the Hurricane Pike up next and finds a very lucky double damager in spawn. Right as the Roshan is up, but the team's aware of this. There is the Hawk scouting it for LFY. So it looks like this smoke play is going to be a bid for Roshan, but Freeze is just charging down the mid lane, and I don't know if that's the target that they want. FY is a little bit far away, but he will be joining his team soon as the wraparound comes in. Afu thinking about this, but they don't really see the backline just yet. They get some eyes on Aggressive. RTK also coming into vision now, but they are a little bit split up, and Super continuing to push out the bottom lane for the time being. They do jump in, they're actually focusing onto the Kunkka. They've also got the swap out. Looks like they will be okay. The DOTA getting her ultimate off. Can fight this, but they've fought down 2. Aggressive already dead. FY also gone. RTK drops very low. Will get purged up. Manages to get off their wall, but looks like he can get auto attack down. They lose the position 3 and position 4. Now the Medusa being focused, just getting bashed up. The Cold Feet also looking like it might end up proccing. Monet unwilling to use yet another defusal charge for this. And I think he's made the right decision. They should be able to get both of these kills without too many problems. The Coconut and the Mystic Snake both bouncing around, but jumping forward gets that bash Freeze. He's super immobile and just doesn't have the damage to find any of these kills. His mana has run low, and with that his life will run out as well. LFY find a 5-2 team fight. Great Chronosphere from Monet, grabbing the Vengeful Spirit and the Omni Knight. I thought the Venge swapped in, but swap actually off cooldown right now, so just perfect Chrono and very easy team fight. Looks like not feeling confident enough to try and take the Roshan right now without the Beastmaster. I think that's a pretty smart call, but
Dire's middle tower has been
Why
denied.
also may be in some trouble. One last diffusal charge from Monet. Gonna help
I foresaw your death the moment you were born.
top of that boat and able to run himself back.
Regeneration.
With that, LFY with their Solar Crest head into the pit. They're gonna hand the Aegis over to the Lina. Cheese is gonna be over on the Void. Void not really that useful with 2 lives, so definitely makes sense. Vengeful Spirit gonna be going for the BKB. And Lina also changing her mind on the BKB selection. We'll just be picking up a Lincoln Sphere here. Can't get X, can't get swapped, can't get Magic Missiled. There aren't even that many easy spells to pop it. Like Mystic Snake and Paralyzing Cask are about it. So they're removing a ton of control factors from VGJ just by picking up these Lincoln Spheres. Fenrir getting caught out here. There's 4 not in a great position. But Monet is still able to charge forward, picking up aggressive meanwhile on the bottom side of the map. Void will be able to time walk off a significant portion of that damage, and LFY going to continue this push down to the bottom. Super completely outranging the tower, so just going full sniper mode. But does need the creep wave to arrive to disable that backdoor protection. But VGJ, this is 2 games in a row where I feel like the offlane Omni Knight, a nice concept, but without the availability of the Shrine, just can't really put on pressure the way that he would like, man. Ends up really slowing down your lineup because you're waiting for this Omni Knight to just farm a Midas. The turn bin, they will be able to go onto the Medusa. The Roar is on cooldown for the time being. They will be able to get their Kel off onto Freeze, so saving his mana pool for the time being. But Super still auto-attacking away at the tier 3. Got a little bit of sustain coming in from the Vlads, but the scan from Freeze helping a little bit. Beastmaster in some trouble. Can he get the well-timed blink away? No. FY with the perfectly timed combo, but Beastmaster just so damn tanky. One more X-Mark is going to drag him back, but they need to be careful about how far outside of the base they go here. This could just be a big chrono setup. It looks like in the end, they will just let the Beastmaster go. Void feeling a little bit low on mana right now, and like maybe wanting to put down Lincoln Sphere before they make too many more aggressive moves. Super, meanwhile, still making great use out of the boot to travel, just bouncing around the map. We'll be able to take out that tier 2, so they continue to pave their way towards the high ground, but the high ground will be the true test. They don't really have amazing ways to chip it. I guess the Lina is not bad, since they can give vision with the Hawk. But that's once again where the vision from the Hawk on the Beastmaster gives them all of the initiation potential that they need to be able to jump into the VGJ base and hopefully find a good fight. Manta just picked up for Medusa now. I'm not really enamored with this item on this hero, but I guess he feels like he maybe needs it against the... Does he really need it against time dilation? Is it really that annoying of a spell for Medusa? I mean, what else is there to purge? I guess a cold feet? That's about it, really. If you're really Gosu, you Manta dodge a last striker or something like that. But I feel like the problem for Medusa at this point is not survivability. It's actually just being enough of a threat that the enemy team cares about you at all. You see these fights, they jump into the back lines, jumping in on a defender, killing him off. FY's in some trouble, he's getting bashed up. Nice little sidestep there from Monet as well, as it looks like FY is not going to be able to escape into the base. The defusal charges have been flowing so far this game. Monet chewing through his entire defusal 1 and half of his defusal 2 in just the last couple of minutes, but that speaks volumes about how hard LFY have been winning these fights and how many kills they've been finding. Freeze once again onto the front line. Gonna try and run interference here, but Monet just giving some vision for Super to continue plinking away up onto the high ground. Super even taking a more aggressive position. Another jump in Burrow. Freeze getting locked down somewhat. They might even expend the Roar or the Chrono here onto him. The Magic Missile will chase Monet down onto the low ground, but he's going to be A-okay. LFY still making slow and steady progress. Lena's going to be going for a Monkey King bar up next, I think. Just knows that the Butterfly is up on the Medusa, and there's a Heaven's Halberd over on the Vengeful Spirit, so pretty sensible item choice there. Faceless Void looks like he's going to be going for a Bloodthorn. his inventory is starting to look a little bit cramped right now, but of course he still has one more slot with the Hand of Midas being replaced a little bit later on. Super to find something. We got a bunch of VGJ heroes standing right on top of an observer ward right now, and RTK not in a great position, but Beastmaster is a little bit far away. LFY continuing to play an extremely patient game. Looks like maybe they're just waiting for the Ancient Apparition Agate Scepter to come up now. Pretty big upgrade for DDC. They're not too far away from another tome either, so he's actually not too far away from level 18. But still just farm station. VGJ, the gank train behind the Medusa right now. Big smoke gank coming in. Wants kind of an opportunity. They're going to try and use freeze to compromise the positioning on the enemy team. They will be able to pop the Lincolns on Monet, but will just be able to press forward. Not have the Aegis any longer, as Aggressive is going to come in here and try and make a play. He's repelled up first. I will not be able to control him. And they can just swap off. Monet just going to drop off the Chrono onto the Kunkka. That will be defended a little bit with the Stone Gaze. The Ice Blast, however, going to catch onto a bit of an FY. Looks like they might both be brought down. Vicious Void in big trouble. Can he get the time walk off? It looks like he might be able to. No, just finished off at the last possible moment. Super now charging forward. Who can they find? RTK and the Medusa both in some trouble. And Freeze very low on mana, so does get swapped out defensively by Aggressive. Staffing himself away. Super standing strong in the front lines. Manages to auto attack through RTK. Fenrir also falls to the auto attack damage. FY will be next. Triple kill for Super. And that will end up being a 4-for-1 team fight overall. Aggressive only surviving courtesy of the rum buff from Kunkka, but Super wants more. He wants this tier 3 tower. The vision is one of the high ground. There is a glyph available for the Dire side, but they're not going to pop it. Just letting Super grab that one for free. That's going to pave the way for the shrines, and with 3 buybacks still available, they're not going to even end up using them. Freeze is in big trouble. He's just getting auto attack down the Ice Blast. Might not connect. Nice force that from Aggressive, going to get him a little bit further away, but Super will not be stopped. He's got the cheese. He popped it now. Aggressive in trouble. Nice repel from RTK. Is going to save the Light Strike Array, but Super will not be stopped, and that will be the GG called by VGJ.
Dire's bottom barracks.
LFY looking very convincing. The offload Omni Knight just doesn't seem to be the way to go right now. Props to DDC for least deaths. I did think it was going to be Super, but I guess AA having a pretty good game was on the winning teams. They're not really caught out of position very much, but the two LGD teams looking very, very good as we start off the day here in the Ti7 kind of qualifiers. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I think I've solved the microphone issues now, but the remaining challenge is to see if I can solve these networking problems. So once again, we're going to go to a break. I'll chuck some music on, and I'll catch you guys soon for our next match, which will be CDEC versus eHome. So we're going to see the new eHome squad in action. I don't think they've played very many officials with this roster, but should be good to see how they're doing. Meanwhile, looks like no, actually no, wait, no, that's the game after that. Next game is IGV versus eHome.